everyone. Welcome to episode 120 of the arieknits podcast. My name is Ariel, and this is a video podcast where I talk about all the things that I have been knitting and spinning on for the past week. Today it is Saturday, June 28th, and I have quite a bit of updates. I also finally have some spinning updates. I have a few new cast-ons that I'm really excited about. And yeah, I just can't wait to share them with you all. Okay, let's start off with what I'm wearing today because it was one of my finished objects in the past, was it last week or the week before? And I'm finally wearing it on the podcast. This is the Metropolitan Pullover by Tori. I used for my yarn the Camellia Fiber Company Sewn DK in the colorway New York. And I knit size 1. I used US 10 needles, 6.0 millimeter needles to knit this, and that's the needle size for like the main part of the sweater. And final measurements I got for this is 34 inches in circumference, so that gives me about 4 inches of positive ease. My measurements did end up, I think, 2 inches smaller than the pattern states it should, so that just means my gauge was probably a little bit tight. But the sizing is still great. So if I were to make this again, which I really want to make this again, I will just knit the same size. I won't change anything. If my gauge ends up a little bit bigger, that would also be fine. But this sweater fits nice and I'm very happy with the result. So I will stand up now and I'll move my hair out of the way so you can see the sweater. Here it is. It's just a really nice, this yarn is like a, kind of like a fluffy, like a blown yarn construction, I think. And so it does have quite a bit of fluff. You probably can't really tell that much in the camera, but it is like a DK weight fluffy yarn. And it's very nice. It feels denser than I was expecting it to feel wearing on, but it still is quite airy. Like there is still holes. Like it doesn't make me feel like super constricted and warm. Here you can see the yarn over details that go all the way around, right over the top of the shoulder and just around the armhole on both sides. You can see here is the sleeve length. I think it's perfect sleeve length. I could go a little bit longer if I wanted to, but honestly this is perfect. I did the straight sleeve construction, so whatever I pick up here, there's no decreases, and then I just the needle size for the I cord here is like a smaller needle size, and so it does, kind of sort of brings it in just a little bit, but yeah, straight sleeve. It is more snug right up here than I was expecting. Again, this could be a gauge thing, but there's still some positive ease, so it doesn't hurt me, it doesn't bother me, but it is just like when I put it on, I was like, oh, it is just like slightly more snug than I was anticipating right over here. But I think that doing the straight sleeve construction is really good because I don't think I needed any decreases, if anything at all, until like my elbow. You can kind of see it like right here. But yeah, I am very happy with this. Oh, the one modification I did make was just the length of this. I'm pretty sure I made this I just kept going until it felt right. I didn't want it to be cropped at all. Like I didn't want to feel like I needed to wear high-waisted shorts or pants. Why did I say shorts? Maybe because it's summer, but I didn't want to feel like I needed to wear high-waisted pants with this sweater just to make sure, like nothing's showing over there. So I wanted to make this just long, and so I just kept going, but I'm very happy with the length. If I were to make this again, and again, I would love to make this sweater again, I will knit it to the exact same length as this one. Very happy with it, and overall very happy with the pattern. It was a really nice knit to make. Besides the arm and shoulder kind of eyelet detail, everything else is pretty straightforward. It's stockinette knitting, very comfortable. The gauge the gauge is large, on the larger side, and so it felt like the sweater went by pretty fast to make, and so that was also really nice. Especially, I think I was making this when I had some fingering weight projects that I was doing as well, so this was nice to just be like, work on it and I make visible progress. So, very happy with it. This is the first time I've used this yarn too, the Camellia Fiber Company yarn, and it's really nice. It is really soft. I was kind of wondering if it would be itchy, because it is like pretty fluffy, and for me, well, this yarn is, has some like cotton in it, in the, I wonder if I do have the yarn band, yay. It is 42% baby alpaca, great, I'm good with alpaca, 8% merino, and 50% Pima cotton, and so, I was just wondering, you know, any kind of fluffy yarn, like potential to be itchy, even though I was like, alpaca should be fine. Not itchy. It's very soft. I love it. Yeah, overall very happy with it. It's very comfortable to wear. I did wear it on another day this week, just like throughout the day, and it was comfortable. I don't know. I like it. I want to make another one. I probably, if I make another one, would probably knit it with like 2 strands of Suri, because I have a lot of sweater quantity of Suri, and so I do feel like that would look and feel really nice in this pattern, and I feel like gauge would probably work out well too, and so that is my next plan for this. I don't have a specific yarn that I want to use, but I know I want to use one of my Suri sweater quantities, held double, to make this sweater. So yeah, I'm, again, very happy, very pleased with this. The neck shaping and just like the shape of it is really nice. It's not, you know, it's a round neck, it's not a V-neck, but it's not like all the way up towards my neck where it starts to get a little dicey for me in terms of comfort. So this is like, I think the perfect shaping, and where it's laying is really nice and comfortable. So yeah, I feel like I've used the word comfortable to describe this sweater a lot, but I think that's just because that if I had to choose one word to describe this sweater, it is comfortable. So I'm happy that I have this one done, and I'm excited to continue wearing it. Okay, I have a couple of finished objects. Well, okay, yeah, well, they're done knitting. I need to wash and block them. This has been a theme, but they're also a new cast-on from this week. And I cast these on really quickly, just like a couple days ago, because I have been wanting to make these for a super, super, super long time. Or I guess, I don't know, maybe it was from earlier this year. Whenever I saw them, I was like, I want to make these. And then I was like, I'm feeling in a mood to cast on something small and cute. And I want to see how they would work out, because I would love to make these for gifts this year. And I needed to test it out. So I'm going to hold them up, these 2 little cuties. This is the Rybka or Rybka pouch by Rat and Sea Witch. They're just like little fish-shaped pouches that are just so cute. I am using some leftover yarn or unknown yarn, and so I don't really know. I mean, I can take a guess at what yarn, but the idea for me for making these is to use some of my leftover scrap yarn to make them. As you can see, I made 2 this past week. I could finish one very easily in a day, I would say. For both of them, they are different sizes, and I will explain, but I followed the same instructions for the small size, or the AirPods case size for this. For the instructions, there are 2 sizes. It's basically just the length of the fish is just longer, but I followed the instructions for the smaller size. I use US 3 needles, 3.25 millimeter needles, which is, I think, 1 size up from the pattern, mostly just because I did not have the needle size that it recommended available, and I was like, it's a pouch, and so I was like, I don't think it'll really matter the sizing, just as long as I like the size that ends up coming out. And then I used a 3.25 millimeter crochet hook, so same size of needles. In the pattern, the crochet hook is supposed to be smaller. I can understand why now, but I think my combination is good, and I like it. Okay, so speaking of size, I'm going to hold them up you can see that this blue one is a lot bigger than the pink one. And that is because the pattern states to use like a fingering weight yarn with a mohair. And again, that's always like, oh, DK weight, or I can sub that with like maybe 2 strands of fingering weight. I had this yarn, this blue yarn, in stash. I think that it maybe was like a leftover, or like a one of my friends, when we did a yarn swap, already had it wound up and didn't use it, and so I grabbed it. I'm pretty sure, because I don't remember winding this up. I don't have the ball band information. It is a single ply yarn, but I think it's a fingering weight yarn, and so I was like, I'm just gonna hold it double and see what happens. I think that was too thick, but you know, that's why I'm testing it out, and that's why I tried it. But I think this color is so great for a fish pouch pattern, because I mean, of the blue, but all of the other colors that are in there as well. It just looks very like underwater sea creature color type. Actually, it kind of reminds me of the colors of like that fish, that colorful fish book. I can picture it, but I don't remember the name of it, but those are the colors that it's reminding me of. So I'm very happy with the color choice. Just the size is a little too big. It's also kind of really thick and a little stiff. I do want to talk about construction, because I didn't know this, but it makes sense. You actually knit it's a pouch, right? And so it's double-sided, but you knit each side flat, and then you crochet together the edging around, and that's how you join them. And my crochet edge on this, it does look a little chunky. So, you know, again, this was my very first one that I made. It was basically a test run. Made a I-cord for the pouch, so you can drawstring it closed. Again, because it's pretty stiff, you can't really like close this really nicely, but I think it's so cute when you close it. I mean, it looks like the lips of the fish. Oh, one thing, I guess, I mean, they're kind of a finished object, but I do want to sew on a button here for the eye. I just need to buy some smaller buttons to work with this. So I'm going to do that pretty soon. So I guess this isn't really a finished object, but I'm going to put it as finished object because it's going to be, I think, a while until I get the buttons and sew them on. But yeah, I-cord, and then I did just like sew both ends together. Like I made the I-cord, I threaded it through, and then I sewed the 2 ends together so that it's a continuous loop, which the pattern doesn't say to do. I think it just says to like tie the ends, but I feel like this is just a more secure way to have it. But yeah, so the first one was this one, and then I decided, I was like, I mean, even just like size wise, I was like, what if I just did 1 strand of fingering weight? So I didn't change my needle size at all. I used the same needle size, followed the same instructions, but for this pink one here, I just held 1 strand of fingering weight, just 1 strand, and I did not double it. And I think that this is the perfect one. Perfect size, perfect density of fabric, and it does kind of close at least a bit more easily with the drawstring at the top. Yeah, and I did the same thing with the I-cord for that, and I think it's so cute. I mean both of these are so cute. I'm gonna keep this blue larger one, but I'm very pleased with these. I would love to make these as gifts for people this year, family and friends. And so I think what I will do is just do what I did with this one. 1 strand of fingering weight. Yeah, it's so cute. It's so cute. I do think that doing the crochet, like crocheting the 2 sides together is a little fiddly, and there is like clearly one side that looks really nice with the edging. I would try to block my face with this so that you can maybe, the camera will focus, you can see like this side is a nice side with the crochet edge connecting both sides, and if I turn this around, the other side just looks not as pretty. So I don't know what other people's ones look like or how they did it, but also I think it's fine. And if I give these as gifts, will also be fine. I don't know. Even if the people see that there's one side that looks nicer, I don't think it's really gonna, hopefully it doesn't bother them. But oh my gosh, look how cute. I just feel like this is the cutest thing ever. And I feel like I'm not usually one for small kind of fiddly knits, but there's something about this one that I think is just extra cute. And I think now that we're reaching the middle of the year, I'm starting to feel like I want to knit some projects that use some of my scrap or leftover yarn. Just makes me feel good about that. So yeah, so these two were my fun little new cast-ons this week, plus, finished object, which now I'm thinking about it, maybe not quite finished object because they still need to be washed and blocked, and I need to sew the eyeballs on. But yeah, they're just two cute little projects. Little pouches, and I'm very excited about them. I think what I will do for my near future ones that I make, who knows, I might make them like one a week until I have a whole bunch. I want like a whole bunch of them. But I think the next one I make will be the same, this blue color, but I will just do it with one strand instead of holding two strands at a time. Because I think that this is a great color for the fish look. Okay, so that is the Rybka pouch. Let's move on to my whips. Okay, really quickly, I made some progress on my June socks. I know it is almost the end of June. It's June 28th. And I can get this done. I just need to put my mind to it. But, okay, last time we talked, I already had one side done. And I just started my second side, so this was my stitch marker. Look how much progress I made. I finished the leg of the sock, and then I pretty much just did the heel on this. Let me fold it this way so you can see. I just did the heel. So the hard part of this is done, and I just need to work on the foot now. But it should be easy going from here on out, and because I have the first one done, I can just compare it to the first one for length. I don't have to keep putting it on my foot, which doesn't take that long to do, but it is just kind of nice to not have to keep putting it on my foot to check for size. But yeah, I just need to get these done. They're very enjoyable to work on. Again, this sock, I'm not really following a pattern. I'm not following an entire sock pattern, but for the heel, I'm following the Fish Lips Kiss Heel sock pattern by Socks Therapist. And this is my first time doing the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, and I think I really, really enjoy it. I enjoy making it. I think that once I do enough of them and get them down, I'll have it memorized, and that'll be super nice to just be able to do that for all of my future socks. And then the rest of the sock is just a 2x2 rib sock, including the bottom of the foot for the foot part of the sock. So yeah, just because I like the fit of the 2x2 rib sock, and so I thought that would just be good to keep it simple like that while I try out a new heel. And I am just really looking forward to finishing this and then wearing it and seeing after some wear, once the sock kind of stretches out a little bit just from wearing and all being moved around while I'm wearing it, how I feel about the fit of this heel, because I think I really enjoy it, and we just need to see how it holds up. So yeah, very, very pleased with that. I am excited to wear these socks. And yeah, yarn color, the yarn for this is Sewrella Yarn Classic Sock in the colorway The Garden Room, and my cast on stitch count was 60 stitches. And I'm using US 1 needles, 2.25 millimeter needles to knit this. That's my default sock knitting needles, and I found it to be the best, I think, and so that's what I go with for my sock knitting. And I'm very much enjoying this yarn. I love it. I do really like this kind of striping and also color pooling that's happening at the same time. I think it's really great. So yeah, just very happy with that. My June socks. Oh my gosh, now that I just like realized that June's almost over and I need to finish these socks, I also need to start planning my July socks. I have not thought about it yet. Need to think about it soon so I can cast on right after I finish my June socks. Okay, next up I have my Robinson wrap cardigan by Florence Miller. And yarn I'm using for this is Woolberry, Berry Suri, and also Berry Merino, held together, both in the colorway Sweatshirt. And I am knitting size B, and I'm using US 6 needles, 4.0 millimeter needles to knit this. And let me hold it up because I am at a fun, or well, I am at a fun part. I guess it's not fun, but it's fun because I finished the body of this. I will hold it up now, what I have. Ta-da! I finished the body, and so I'm trying to hold it kind of like a little bit sideways because it is a wrap top, and so it's going to overlap, but it's kind of like flopping all over the place right now. But maybe I'll just hold it up against me, and then you can see it. And so I finished the body. It was just a whole bunch of ribbing for the main part of the body where it's just knit straight with no increases. And so you can kind of see that here. But the shaping is all increases and then stop increasing straight down with the ribbing, one by one rib. So you can see my stitch marker here. I think I had like a few rows of ribbing last time, and then I just did a whole bunch of ribbing and I cast off. I did do a Italian bind off for this. I think that will look nice. The pattern did not specify, it just said bind off however you like. And then I picked up and knit some sleeve. So I'm at a very, very happy part on this because normally sleeves are like kind of boring, but because the body is done, I'm just like, oh, I just have 2 sleeves, and then it's not a button band, but it's the band, the double knitted band that goes around the neck band, I guess. Then I have that might be a bit fiddly or just like feels like it takes a while because double knit always just feels like that, but I'm happy to be, like the body's done. The body, it is cropped. It is a cropped fit, and so that's why I feel like it just took a really short amount of time to knit the body, but I'm happy with it. I tried it on. I do like the length of it. I was a little worried about the length being too short, but I do like the length that it's at. I think that it'll look really cute. But yeah, I am on the sleeves now, and no decreases yet. I think because this is supposed to be a more fitted kind of design or pattern, for the sleeves, there are no decreases until, like, I'm not there yet. I'm not there to the length where I start decreasing. And so my guess is going to be the decreases maybe start where your elbow is supposed to start. That's going to be my guess. I will reach the length where it says to start decreasing, and I will try it on and see how I feel about that. But yeah, so far it's just going great. So right now it's just the sleeves easy because it's just knitting in the round stockinette. So it's been going nice. Very happy with it. And yeah, it is a fingering plus Suri combination yarn. So it's so nice and fluffy. And maybe a bit weird to be working with this combination during the summer. But it's been like cooler and more rainy than I've expected since it's officially been summer. But it's good for me. Good for me and my knits for it to be just a little bit cool, you know? So, I would love to also, be like, ooh, summer knits and all of that, which I'm still excited about. But, I still like working on my sweaters and fluffy knits. So that's been going good. I think that was all the details on that. Let's move on to, oh my gosh, okay. The next 3 things I have to talk about are all new cast-ons. Yes, one I've already talked about or discussed last week because it was like one of my plans for this coming week. So I'm going to talk about that one first. This is my Penelope top by Sari Nordlund, and this is going to be my green knit with my friends. We're all planning on knitting green things with the same colorway. It's the same colorway from the same yarn dyer. Different patterns. We're all making different patterns, but this is the pattern I decided on. I'm just trying to get this arranged in some kind of way where, I mean, it's not all that exciting right now. It just looks like a tank top, pretty much. No finishings on it yet, but this is what I have so far. The yarn is Zeezee Textiles Silk Sock in the colorway Nordlys, and it's this really, really pretty and I would say a bold color. I do not have this color in my wardrobe, but I think that this color will grow on me in similar ways that some other like bright pinks and some red orangey colors have grown on me in the past for my knits. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this looks on. Working with this yarn has been super nice. I mean, it kind of just feels like your normal fingering weight to apply kind of like sock yarn, although this one, instead of nylon, it's silk. So let's see. I am knitting size 2. And the reason is, again, this with Sari Nordlund tank top patterns, I always kind of feel like I do not like when the part that goes around my stomach area, if it's I don't like it to be tight. I do not want negative ease there. And I feel like the difference between my like stomach area in that area of my body, like the circumference around there, is not that different from the circumference around my chest. And so whenever tank tops have negative ease like recommended, I always kind of like normally just go for positive ease because I want positive ease for sure around my stomach area. So I decided to go with size 2 and hope for the best. I slightly did make a change for the armhole depth on this, because I've also noticed in previous Sari Nordlund patterns that I've made that, especially for tank tops, I mean, or maybe only in tank tops that I've noticed, or maybe it's just more prominent in tank tops, that the armhole depth is usually pretty low for my liking, for my preference, or just in my body measurements. And so I did shorten just a little bit wherever it says to knit to a certain length for this. I just shortened it a little bit. Like, I want to say maybe like half an inch. Like, it wasn't anything crazy. I just think that'll be enough to help. And I am using the recommended needle size for this. I'm using US 2.5 3.0. It's 3.0 millimeter needles to knit this. I do believe that is the recommended needle size. And as you can see, I have joined front and back. I've worked a bit from the underarm. Oh my gosh, can you see this line that happened here? I think my gauge has changed right there. I think that I started knitting tighter in that section, and so I'm hoping that that'll block out, and I'm like, I do not want to rip back. I think what I should do is, because right now it's squished on my needles, I need to put this on some, I need to put it on a yarn, like a, oh my gosh, what's it called? Like a barber cord, and just like put it on and see if I can like really tell the difference where my gauge changed. Because for me, visually, it doesn't bother me. I'm just like a little nervous about the fit because, again, like I just said, I don't want it to be tight around my stomach area. And I think that where this, my gauge change obviously is not, in the chest area. It's like more towards the waist stomach area. Don't really want it to be tighter there. So I should probably just like try it on and just make sure it's going okay. But I think that it'll mostly block out to be a bit more, not the same gauge, but at least that line hopefully won't be there. Oh gosh, looks worse on camera than in person. Okay, I'll just deal with that later. I'm just gonna like keep going. But yeah, working with this yarn has been really nice. This color is pretty fun. And this past weekend, I was with all of my knit friends, and we were all working on our green yarn together, and it was really fun and kind of like crazy looking to just see all of us like sitting on the couch, and all of us were working on the same green colored yarn, and I thought that was really cute. So yeah, overall it's just fun. I am in the boring part of the pattern, because if you've seen the pattern, also I probably did show a picture of it, it does get more interesting, like towards the bottom part, the hem part of this top, there will be a lace pattern, and so that'll be a bit more fun to work on. But this has been a great project because it is now stockinette in the round to work on when I'm talking with friends, or if I'm like watching TV, or again, a nice mindless knit. But I do need to start kind of measuring, because some eyelet holes need to be made near the waist of this. So yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do after I film today, is just check my measurements, check to see if it's still how it fits in its current state, and I will do that for sure. But yeah, so that was the Penelope top by Sari Nordlund. That was a new cast on this past week, and then I did cast on something else. This is another nice summer knit with a nice summer yarn. And okay, this one was, I forgot to mention the Metropolitan pullover that I'm wearing. It was in my Make 9 for this year, and so yay, I have one more sweater done for my Make 9. But this is also for the Knitalong that's being hosted by me, Meghan and Emily, the PKW Flock U Knitalong, which is a knit-along for Flock. You don't have to go to Flock in order to participate in the knit-along, but we are, I think, going to plan like a meetup there for the knit-along, and there will be prizes, and it's a Tori U pattern knit-along. Like that's knit-along. And so since I finished the Metropolitan pullover, I was like, I think I have enough time until Flock, or before the knit-along ends, for me to cast on another Tori U knit for this. And so I did. And this was her new, I think it's her newest pattern that's out right now. I was very tempted to test it. I'm usually tempted by all of Tori U's patterns, but I was like, do not have time for more tests. But I knew I wanted to get the pattern when it came out, and I was like, it's the perfect opportunity. This is the Nolita tank by Tori U, and I am using Sea Change Fibers. It's my first time using Sea Change Fibers yarn. The base is called Bayshore Fingering, and the colorway is Skyflower. And I bought this yarn at Flock last year, and so, this also was because now that Flock's coming up really soon, I was like, oh gosh, how am I doing with the yarn and fiber that I bought at Flock last year? Like, how am I doing? And I was like, I didn't use as much as I thought I did from Flock. But I was like, is there any yarn that I could use right now for a new cast on? And it kind of just like all came together to turn into this tank. And it's looking, there's no finishing, so it's looking a bit scrunched in right now, but it's looking nice. You can kind of see it take shape. As you can maybe tell, it is worked top down. Here's the back, and you can see like the pickups on the edges here for the front and the straps. Basically for this, I am joined in the round right now, just a little bit. Stockinette knitting. I'm knitting size 2. Again, I could have knit size 1, but I'm like, wanted to make sure I had some positive ease. For tanks, there's always a concern that if there's too much positive ease on a tank, that it's just going to like feel like you can't wear it by itself. Like it has to be like over something. But I think that this will be okay. I haven't tried this on yet, but maybe I should do that at the same time that I'm going to try on my Penelope top. Just do it all just to make sure, because if I need to go back, I'd rather do it now than later. But where is the yarn band that I want to talk about this yarn? Oh, okay. Me and Megan both bought this yarn in the same colorway, the same base last year at Flock. And because, well, for one, the color is amazing. I think that that's probably what drew us to it because, and I will hold it up closer to the camera, it is a blue colorway, but as you might be able to see, there's some like little pink flecks in there. And I do think that that is from like the cotton in the yarn. So this yarn is a fingering weight yarn. I'm holding this double, by the way, because the pattern is a DK weight. So I'm holding this double. It is 550 yards for 100 grams. So it is crazy. It is pretty thin. It's a pretty thin yarn. So again, that's why I'm holding it double for this pattern. But it is 25% Merino Rambouillet. That's Shanico. So it's 25% Shanico, and I'm still obsessed with Shanico, and so that made me really excited. And then it's 75% cotton. So the base on this is what drew me and Megan to it, and also the color. And okay, what's crazy about this is that it's just the dye, and this blue colorway specifically, that it dyed it like this. They dyed it like a tonal, but just the way that the cotton, I guess, pulls in that blue, it kind of just like takes up that kind of like pinky purplish color. And so I thought that was so cool, and it looks really nice. I'm very, very pleased with it and excited to be knitting with it. And yeah, I'm excited to see this take shape. I think it's going to be really, really cute. Also, the Nolita tank, if you've seen, obviously you can do whatever you want with the colors, but the way that Tori Yu has it, and I think most of her testers have it too, is that around the neckline and also the armhole, there's a contrast color that you can use for a little pop. And so I think that I'm going to go with one of my leftover yarn colorways to do the little pop of color. And it's not going to be something like super crazy, but I would love to bring out some of that pinky purplish color in there. And so I'll probably go with like a light pink for that contrast color for the finishings of the tank. And so I'm really excited to be working on this. This yarn definitely feels like cotton. Like when you think cotton and how, if you've knit with cotton before, that is the feel on this. It is soft. It doesn't, I think because the strand is really thin, and even holding it double, like it doesn't feel, like it still feels soft. It doesn't feel, like it feels cool. It feels like it just feels like a really great fabric for a summer tank. So yeah, again, I'm just very excited. I'm very looking forward to the finished object. I'm very happy with working with some new yarn, with a new base that I've never worked with before, and just overall, it's just like all the new things all rolled into one. And it's gonna be a knit for the PKW Flock U Knitalong as well, and so it's all just like working out really nicely, and I'm enjoying it. Right now it's just stockinette in the round. So again, it's a very mindless knit. It's a very relaxing knit right now. So yeah, I do want to get that done before Flock, but there are some other knits that I want to also kind of like prioritize too. Okay, and then my last new cast on. This week, I am a crazy person. And this is because for some reason this past week, I was very like, I want to do some little scrappy projects, or some little, or big, in this case big, project that uses some of my scrap or leftover yarn. And I don't know who I saw this from, but I saw someone make this blanket, and I was like, oh, I want this knit blanket. If you've been watching me from last year, maybe you'll know I knit 2 blankets last year. Yeah, But they were great for using up yarn as well, and they also just look great, and also they are being used. And it's always great. It's not like I knit a whole thing and they're not being used, which is kind of sad. I like using my knit things. That makes me very happy. I know some people don't use their knit things because they're very precious. But I like to use my knit things, and so I'm very happy that the knit blankets are being used. But because they are being used, I was like, oh, so it's, for me, worth the effort to make even more knit blankets. Anyway, I am making another knit blanket, and I started it. I will hold up what I have so far. I am making the mitered corner blanket. I think that there's lots of patterns for this. I think mostly free ones that I've seen, or like tutorials on how to make it, because it's very simple. Or it's not extreme. It's not like, maybe simple blanket would be like just flat garter stitch, right? This involves a little bit more. But I am following the pattern by Purl Soho. It is free on their website, and I am following the stitch counts that correspond with the small size for the blanket instructions. However, I am just going to knit whatever amount of squares I want. But I have 9. I've done 9 this week. I started with this one, this first one, this pink one. I am using US 6 needles, 4.0 millimeter needles to knit this, and my plan is, I have a lot of fingering weight yarn, and so my plan is to mostly just use fingering weight yarn held double for each of these squares. Yay. Okay, I think that this construction is pretty similar to, I mean, you add on squares, like you do not knit individual squares and sew them together. You can definitely do that if you want, but these are definitely like pick up the edges and knit on it, and so you don't have to sew together all of the squares in the end. Here's the back. You can see the back. You can tell like where those picked up edges were, because they look a little funky, but it's fine. And you can maybe see that there's kind of like this diagonal here, because that is where all the decreases happen. And since this is a free pattern, I feel a little bit more open about talking about how it's done. But I think what's really neat about this is that you can see it's not just a square garter stitch, like square. The garter stitches you can see are kind of all, it's again done kind of like in a triangle. The garter stitches on this side are pointing downwards, and on this side they're horizontal, and there's like this diagonal piece here that's happening, and this is where all the decreases are happening. So when you're knitting it, these are your rows like this, and so you're always decreasing until you end up with one stitch. And I think that that's really fun, because each square you make, you will always be decreasing. There's no increases that need to happen. And so it'll always, there's something about doing decreases, right, that just makes it feel, I mean, because it is, like each row gets shorter, so each row gets faster. And so I think that that's really fun about this. And it also adds a bit more visual interest to the squares than if it was just a straight, just garter stitch back and forth square. You do have to think a little bit more, but again, I think it's definitely worth it, just for the look, the final look on these. What else? I mean, yeah, I'm having really fun right now with, I was gonna say, the pattern is a similar feel to the Sweet Shop blanket that I made last year, and those, again, they're garter stitch squares, and these are done in a similar direction in terms of like you're kind of knitting them in a diagonal, and you do end up with, you can, if you want, right, have each square be 2 different colors, and they're different triangle, or they're colored triangles. But in this one, the squares are a lot smaller, and so I can use smaller scraps of yarn for this, and I don't really have to worry about about that. I think the Sweet Shop blanket and those squares were bigger. Obviously, I could have made those squares smaller. It's a very easy pattern to modify your stitch count and size. But I do like that for this one. I don't have to really worry about making sure I have enough yarn. I mean, I don't have too much scraps that are just like really tiny pieces of yarn. But I think, if I remember correctly, so I'm holding fingering weight double, and each one is about 6 grams. Takes about 6 grams of yarn total. And so that really gives me a whole range of the scrap or leftover yarn that I have of yarn to pick out from. And so my plan is to just kind of like, just pick a side. I'm just going to randomly, add squares wherever. And also just randomly pick a color. I'm going to try, not to put the same colors next to each other, and hopefully maybe kind of mix in the tonos and variegated so that it's not just like all tonos in one area, but that kind of seems to be like the case right here. But anyway, I'm going to try and just spread it out a little bit and make it look a bit more like just random colors throughout. There's not a color scheme that I'm going for. I just want to use my scrap leftover yarn and put it into a really nice blanket. So yeah, this was super fun to start and knit on this week, and so I'm hoping that my motivation on this will just like keep going. I think because these squares are so small, I mean they're not that small, but they are smaller than the Sweet Shop blanket, and so in the end I'm going to have made more squares than my Sweet Shop blanket, just because I want this to be again, I'm gonna just keep going until I feel like it's a good blanket size pretty much. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I just was really, really excited for this. I was just like, I've been wanting to make this blanket. I will just knit one square this week just to see how it is, how the pattern is, and then just go from there. And then I was like, just add on one more, and then I'll add on one more, and then I think I stopped at 4. No, maybe I did 6. I think I did these 6, and I was like, I am done for the week. That's where I'll talk about on my podcast. And then I added 3 more just because I was like, I want to try some different yarn combinations. So yeah, I'm just really happy. I'm really happy with this. I think it's going to be really nice. And I do like that, again, because they're smaller size, I can use more of my smaller scrap yarn to combine and put into this. And so I'm very, very happy. I'm very pleased. And I'm loving it so far. It's so nice. I like the weight of the yarn. Actually, no, that is false. My Sweet Shop blanket is fingering weight held double, and so that's like a DK weight-ish yarn, and I like the feel of that blanket, so I'm expecting a pretty similar feel and heft to this blanket as well. The other blanket I made was like, a bulky weight thing, but, and that one was also, much bigger squares, and that was crocheted all together. Oh, that was a culmination blanket. Oh, and that was also my fluffy blanket. That's a hefty blanket, but it is so nice and warm. But I do want just like a little nice scrappy blanket. Also, it's fun if I can like look at a color and be like, oh, that yarn was used in this project or something like that. Not that I can remember the yarn colorway, but I can at least remember which project maybe that it was in. Maybe, sometimes. Or the yarn dyer. I feel like it's never really all together at the same time. I'm usually just like, either I'm like, I know that that's in that sweater, but I have no idea more information about the yarn, or I know the yarn collection it came from, or I know the yarn dyer, but I do not know the name of the colorway or anything. It's just a combination of those, but yeah, I just keep looking at this, and it just makes me really happy. So I also do not, while it would be nice to have this blanket done by the end of the year, I don't have any, an actual, end date goal for this, necessarily. I just want to, keep going and just use up as much scrap yarn as I can. The blanket, if I used up all my scrap yarn, the blanket would be too big. So I'm expecting multiple blankets of this. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. I like having a knit on something for the vibes, like pick a color I'm feeling that day, just kind of add on whatever side I'm feeling, it makes me, I don't know, that makes me happy. I feel like that level of creativity, or like, the unknown of it, I like that. For my sweaters and stuff, I like to know exactly what I'm doing. But for this, I do like just pick whatever color, put it on whichever side you want. I mean, I will be growing it, like this will be one corner, and I'm going to grow it out this way. So that's for sure. But yeah. Okay, I feel like that was like too much talk about this blanket, but I'm excited. I mean, I would like to work on it a little bit every week so that I don't forget the stitch count and how to do it. But we'll see. Sorry, one more thing about this. I did change one thing about this Purl Soho pattern. As I've mentioned, this is all done in garter stitch, which normally, and it's knit flat, and so that means knit every single row for the most part. I guess one way you could also get garter stitch flat is if you purl every row, but why would you do that if you could knit every row? I think most people prefer the knit stitch over the purl stitch. Because of construction there's slightly different instructions, at least for like the start of each square, depending on where you're picking up. So of course the first square is like, I think the only time you will follow those exact instructions are for the first square, because that's not attached to anything. Then you have instructions for picking up on like this side of a square and also on the top side of the square, and also to like in between, if you have these two, or I guess these three, how to pick up stitches on both sides. So there's like different instructions for that. There is one side, I forget which one of like these, that has you purl every single row for the garter stitch. And I was like, I am not going to do that. And so instead, again, I will just say this because the pattern is free, so I think it's okay. But there is, for one of the sides, you cast on stitches and then pick up along a side. And I think the other way was you pick up along a side and then cast on stitches. And so I think that it is, I don't know, whichever one of those is the one where you have to purl every side. I just did not do that. In my head, I already kind of knew what needed to happen. And so I just did it with I do think it's just pick up stitches along one of the sides and then cast on stitches for the other side. And I just did that so I can knit every row and not purl every row. So yeah, that is my one modification for the Purl Soho pattern of this. There are other people who've posted, I think, free patterns on this. Probably different stitch counts. Maybe a different decrease. Possibly. But again, I'm following the Purl Soho pattern, and then I just changed one of the pickup things for one of the sides. If you have any questions about like if you are also trying to make this and you're like, I also don't want to purl, but I have no idea what you just said to make it all knit, let me know and I can try and explain better. But yeah. Okay, now I'm done talking about my mitered corner blanket. But I think it's a little cutie, and I'm so happy with it. And I'm excited to see what more colors, get added to it. I feel like it just changes the vibe a bit, and I am liking the randomness of this. I do just have a bag that's holding this blanket, which is a very small thing right now, but also not all of the scrap yarn, but just a good amount of them for me to start with, to pick from, and then I'll also just like keep adding with more yarn that I find in my office. Okay, that is all for the knitting whips. One thing I do want to mention that I did this week which pretty fun, I think. I ripped out one of my projects, and I've talked about this before, so this is not like a, oh my gosh, like, what did you do? Or at least, I don't think so. Do you remember my best vest? It was my purple, very oversized v-neck vest, and I kept telling myself that I like it, and I was like, the armholes are super deep, but like, it's fine, and it's fine. But I think that sometime, maybe a couple months ago, I wore it just to like, because I like wearing my knits. I was like, I'm going to wear it. And I was like, no, I actually do not like this vest at all. I'm going to rip it out and make something else with the yarn. Because I love the yarn. It's from Big Little Yarn Co. And I think it was a Studio Ghibli colorway. And so I was like, I want the yarn. I just am sad I don't like the vest as much. And so I finally did it. I ripped it out. So I have it in a bag here. All of the balls of yarn. I think that this is equivalent to, I think I had 3 skeins of DK weight of this yarn. But I ripped it all out. I wound them up into balls. You can tell that it's still very curly. From being ripped out. But I think what I'm going to do is wind this up into skeins and then wash them so that they're not as curly, so that I can knit with them again. And so I don't know when I'm going to do that, but I am happy that it is ripped out and I don't have to look at it anymore because it was making me sad. And the plan is, because I wanted a purple vest. I wanted a purple v-neck vest in this colorway. But I'm just going to make a different pattern. And can you guess which v-neck vest pattern I'm going to make? I mean, maybe I mentioned it because I've had this idea for a long time. Like, since I decided I was going to rip this out and make something else. I'm going to make the Avenue vest by Tori. I've made it before. I test knit it. I love it. And I would love to have it in this yarn. So that is my plan. Of course, it could change. But that is the plan in my head right now. And so it's kind of exciting that I have this yarn. It's like, ooh, new yarn. So yeah, it would be kind of cool if I did knit. I do all of that with the yarn and knit it and finish the vest this year, just so that it's not just kind of like hanging out. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so that was kind of like a fun thing that doesn't happen ever here. This might be the first time I've like ripped out an entire like finished project. So yeah, I wasn't as sad as I thought I was gonna be about it. I think it's just because I've given that vest enough time for me to potentially like it, and then I really was just like, I'm done with it. So yeah, it was actually pretty fun to rip out. Took longer than I was expecting it to. Okay, I have a spinning update. I have plied up half of my sweater spin. So far, I really wanted to actually ply it all up by today, but that just like didn't happen. This week was like pretty busy. But I can show you, I have 2 full bobbins. They should be like around 10 grams. 10 grams. 10 ounces. 10 ounces of fiber of yarn. Actually, maybe a little less because I did have kind of a lot of leftover on one of my bobbins for the singles. But it's like two hefty skeins of my 2-ply sweater spin of Zeezee Textiles Rambouillet fiber in the colorway Albertritchel. So I'm about halfway there with the plying of my sweater spin. And I love how they've spun up and how they plied together. They plied how I kind of expected them to look. This color there's a lot of like different colors in it, but they're all pretty like dark and moody colors, and so they all just go really well together. Nothing super crazy in terms of like the barber pulling, I feel like, but there are lots of opportunities in there for the different colors to have been plied together. So yeah, I'm excited also to see how this looks like when it is skeined up as well, because I feel like in every stage, I've said this before, but in every stage of a spin, the colors can look so different together. Just like in the braid, as singles, plied up on the bobbin, and then also in a skein, and then when it's knit up, it can all look so different. So yeah, I love how it looks. I'm trying to, oh my gosh, I'm trying to clear my bobbins for Tour de Fleece. I think that starts next week. So I would love to have this sweater spin done, because my plans for Tour de Fleece is to start another sweater spin. When we get there, I will talk about that sweater spin plan. But I really want this sweater spin to be off the wheel. And that's on my e-spinner. I also have a spin on my Ladybug. It's downstairs with me this week. And I did do a little bit of spinning on that. I also want to get that done, because I actually want to do my Tour de Fleece spinning on my Ladybug wheel. And so I need to get that one done. So I need to ply. Well, I can show you. I need to ply. These are singles. I need to ply all of this before next weekend, and then I also want to finish my spin on my Ladybug. And I guess I should talk about it, because I am over halfway done with the singles. This is Nest Fiber Club Super Fine Merino in the colorway Glad Tidings. And this is the first half of my singles. And so I'm working through the second half right now. I think I can do it this week. Maybe I should prioritize that spin first, because I for sure want that to be off the wheel, since I want to do my Tour de Fleece spinning on my Ladybug. And then I can always finish my sweater spin plying on my e-wheel at the same time. But preferably I want a clean slate. And also I don't want any overlap of spinning 2 sweater spins at the same time, because that seems crazy. But yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. That's it for the spinning updates. I do have a couple acquisitions this week. I did get this yarn from Zeezee Textiles. This was like an in-stock yarn. I know, it's like close to flock. I should probably stop buying yarn, but I really wanted this one. This was a new base from Zeezee Textiles. This is the Cotton Merino DK, and I am planning on making one of the tank patterns that she had one of her samples in, like when she was advertising for this Cotton Merino collection. And the colorway, Cotton Merino DK, it's 50% Pima cotton, 50% superwash merino. It's a 4-ply. Look how pretty this colorway is. This colorway, and it's 246 yards for 100 grams. Sorry about that, I'm like all over the place. And then this colorway is very similar to the colors that I've been liking. Last year that was really surprising to me is that grapefruit colorway, if you remember. But this colorway is called Celosia. Really pretty. It's like an orangey color, which again, I'm not into orange, but I feel like it is a more orangey, peachy color, but I would call it more of a peach-ish color. Yeah. Whatever shade of orange this is, I like. And okay, this yarn already, it feels really, really nice. And so it feels soft and less cottony than you would think you would feel for a 50% cotton, I feel. Like it has that nice softness and kind of like stretch to the yarn. Like it doesn't, it has a nice squish to the yarn. It doesn't just feel like solid like rope, cotton rope or something. Feels nice. And so yeah, that's my plan. And I got 2 skeins. That should be enough for me to make the tank pattern that I will talk about when I decide to cast this on. I would love to cast this on this summer. So hopefully that happens soon-ish. But I would like to finish one of my current tank patterns before I cast on this one, just so I don't have too many tank patterns going at the same time. Okay, and then my last acquisition for this week is some fiber. It is a fiber braid from La Mercerie. This is for the Year of Fiber, so if you haven't gotten yours and you want to keep yours, or if you haven't gotten yours and you want to be a secret, don't watch or look at this part next. But I did get my braid, and this time the dyer is Red Door Fiber Studios, and so I was really excited to see that. And this fiber is Australian Merino, 23 micron, and it's a 4-ounce braid. And okay, the colorway, let me hold it up and show it to you. Amazing. It's Femininomenon. Femininomenon. Which I love and I think is really fun. So lots of bright colors in here. It feels very, very, very summery. So should be really good. I haven't spun any of the fiber I got from the Year of Fiber yet. That's partly because I am like, do I want to do it kind of like all back to back at some point, or combine some like at some point? I'm not sure, and so I'm just gonna like keep them all in fiber form until I decide what I want to do. But yeah, so this is my fiber acquisition for the week, and I think that's it. I think that's all I have for you this week. Anything that has happened? I should have brought it downstairs. I mean, it's okay. Again, this is a knitting yarn fiber podcast, and so skating's not really, it's just a little tidbit about me that sometimes I talk about, but I don't know if you remember, did I talk about it? I think I did. Anyway, I bought a skating dress that was like custom made for my new program this year. I mean, I've worked on this program for over a year now, but I'm going to be performing it this year. And so I bought a dress for it, and it got lost in the mail, and it was really, really sad. And I feel, it's a custom thing, and I feel like it feels very similar to, because it is, if I hand knit a sweater for someone, sent it in the mail, and it got lost, because I can't just, not as easy as just like, I have another one, that I can resend it to you. It's not only a monetary loss, and maybe actually, I think some shipping places, if you lose something in the mail, they will refund you a certain, whatever, like the amount of the stuff that was in there, they'll give it back to you. But like, you can't really get back like a handmade thing. Like it was really sad. And so, but I was very happy with the like customer support that I got from this person. I think it's a very small business, probably like a one person running kind of business. But she said that she would remake me the dress. She said I could either get a refund for it, or she could remake me the dress at no additional cost to me. And I really wanted the dress, and so she said she would remake it. And I finally got it in the mail. Thank goodness that it didn't get lost a second time. But I finally got it. I tried it on. I love it. It fits so nicely. I think it's so cute. It's a different color than the other dresses that I already have. And I feel like this is good for me to like, I think it'd be nice to reuse some of my skating dresses for programs, because I can't just like keep buying new dresses. They are quite pricey as well. So it's kind of nice to have a different color, so that in the future I can always like, I don't just have like all pink dresses, which is what you would expect from me. I do have a pink dress, but this one is like a a like dark purple maroonish kind of color. And I love it. It comes with like long gloves too. And I think it's really nice. There's so many rhinestones, or like so many, is it rhinestones? Oh my gosh, I'm like blanking right now, but all of the shiny little stones on it, there's a ton of them, and so it kind of weighs down the dress. But I mean, with it on, it doesn't really feel like it's that heavy, but just holding it, like I'm like, oh, it's quite heavy. But it's so pretty, and I'm really happy that I have it. I did officially sign up for a competition this year. It's happening in August. And I signed up for 2 events in the same competition. One is my free skate, which is what you think of as a program for ice skating. You have like your required elements, like your spins and jumps. And that's the one that I bought the costume for. And then I really want to do a showcase performance this year as well, because all my other skating friends, I feel like all of them have a showcase program, and this one's a bit more relaxed and kind of fun. There is no jump or spin requirement, so if you don't want to jump or spin, you don't have to. There are different showcase categories, and so you can have like a pop lyrical, I think, category where the music is more pop or lyrical. You can have emotional, which is what I'm doing. And so the idea behind it, or the goal, what you really, for these ones, because there's not like a spin or jump requirement, and those aren't, the things that they're going to grade and that you need points to get. They really are looking for the storytelling, the emotion, and kind of your skating skills, and just like showing that more of a audience appealing performance kind of thing. So that's going to stretch me in being more expressive in that way, but I'm excited for that challenge. But the thing about it is that program for me is not done yet. I like just started learning it with my coach maybe like 3 weeks ago. So, and I've signed up. It's official now. It's happening. I could always drop out, but then I'm going to lose my money. So it's going to happen. And I'm nervous, but I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun. But yeah, anyway, that was like the kind of nerve-wracking thing that I did this week, was sign up for that competition. It happens like right after Flock weekends, the weekend after Flock, and so I'm nervous. I'm gonna be kind of all over the place in July and August this year. I just the whole rest of the year, I feel like there's something happening every month, like a big thing happening every month. So try to be calm, breathe. I'm grateful and happy that these really fun events are happening, and that I'm choosing to do these things. But yeah, I just need to remember to relax. I'm glad I have knitting and spinning to help me relax and kind of like, de-stress. But yeah, that is my other non-knitting yarn update. Not that you've particularly asked for it, but just thought I'd share some of that. But I think that's it. I hope that you've all had a great week. I had a great week. And I hope you all have a great upcoming week. I do have 4th of July off, I'm pretty sure. And so I'm excited to have another long weekend coming up soon, right after my this past weekend was a long weekend for me. And so that was great. But yeah, Tour de Fleece is starting. If you're doing Tour de Fleece, let me know what your plans are. What are some of your goals, if you have goals for Tour de Fleece? Or if you're just gonna like spin for vibes during Tour de Fleece, let me know. As I said before, my plan is to do a sweater spin, and next week I will share more about that, because hopefully then I would have started maybe a little bit, or at least prepped my fiber for it. Not that it needs that much prepping, but I do want to weigh out some of my fiber into like little batches and stuff. But yeah, let me know if you're planning on doing Tour de Fleece. What are you going to spin on? What are some of your goals for it? And any summer knits that you're working on. some, like, if there's some new or like favorite summer knit patterns that you love, let me know too, because I'm just like kind of on the search for it. I do have some in my upcoming like to-do list of things I want to make, but always nice to have like new things to pull from and to just kind of look at. Yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will talk to you all in next week's video. Bye!